So last week I told you that I got a new serger. It's still sitting here on my dining room table, much to the chagrin of my family, but over the weekend I sewed my first project. So something that I talked about last week was that I do not want to feel about my serger how I felt about my Instant Pot, which is super excited about it and convinced by so many of my friends and trusted colleagues in the world that it will change my life and it'll be the best tool that I ever use, and then get it and not use it. So I've had an Instant Pot for like a year and a half and I barely use it. So not so with the serger. I ripped the Band-Aid off last week with all of you and it was kind of amazing. And I'm going to talk a little bit today about how amazing it was. But first I want to show you the first project that I made, because one of the responses that I got to the video last week was a DM from a woman who goes on Instagram under the name The Bagtivist. And I'll put her tag in the description of the video so you can click right over to her, because the link in her bio is to a YouTube video that she filmed. It's 12 minutes long and it walks you through how to make a tote bag out of an old t-shirt using a serger. Now there are a bunch of reasons I love this particular project as a first project. Number one, it's reusing something that you already have, so you're learning on materials you didn't pay for. There's really something tremendous to be said about kind of throwing that first one under the bus with materials you didn't pay for. Like, I'm sure that as this journey progresses, for me on the serger, it'll go the way that many other things have gone as I learn how to do them, which is that there's quite a fine line between throwing projects under the bus with materials that you don't love and making projects you're never gonna love because you're making them out of materials you don't love. So I'm not there yet. The day will come when I will make a project out of a material that I love in the hopes that I won't screw it up enough to not like the end product. But for right now, for learning, making my first project be a tote bag out of an old t-shirt that's been sitting at the bottom of a pile of old t-shirts that I have kept for years because I want to someday make a quilt out of my kids' old clothing, which may or may not ever happen. This was aces. Her instructions are super clear. All you need are a cutting mat and a rotary cutter and a serger, and it was awesome. So here is the bag that I made. See, it was even tie-dyed, because I don't know about your family, but we went through a phase where every white t-shirt that we owned was tie-dyed for like a matter of years. So see, the pattern involves using the sleeve as a pocket that you can fold the tote bag into. Now, she advised me to just forget about the pockets and not even worry about it, but she told me that after I had already made it, and now I'm always gonna make it with a little pocket, because folding it down means that like t-shirts are more bulky than a lot of the kind of reusable bags you can buy. So I like just compressing it down. Anyway, check this out. I'm gonna undo it and you can see all the glory of the tie-dye. Now it gets folded in inside out. So I'm gonna turn it inside out, and I'm doing it super fast so that there can be the big reveal. So yeah, it was a Hot Wheels shirt that we got for free somewhere, and ta-da! A tote bag. You use the sleeves where you cut them off as the handle. And now this was a kid size shirt. Like, imagine the tremendous marketing you can do with an adult size t-shirt that you've made into a tote bag. Now I will tell you this, I mentioned that the YouTube video that she made is 12 minutes long. It took me approximately 15 minutes to make this while like keeping her video going on YouTube. So when I say it's an ideal first project, I am also saying that it is like a quick and dirty, you will be done, instant gratification first project. So this leads me to my next point, which is that lots of people commented on the video last time that you too have a serger, or you want to get a serger and you do not want to feel about it like, let's just call it the Instant Pot phenomenon of intimidation. So I invite you to please adventure along with me. If there's one thing that I have, like one skill I've honed in my career, it is trying things for the first time in public and hopefully softening the blow by screwing up in a way that's super visible so that you can feel more comfortable about your own screw ups, because FYI, screwing up is an integral and inherent part of learning new things. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take our machines out, please join me, and make this project that I'll link to, or make something else, but like just do it. It will be terrible. So I will tell you what, at the bottom of this bag, so first off, also like there's a box it's kind of a box bag gusset. I don't know what you call that, at the bottom of the bag. So you get, it's like, it's just awesome. It's awesome. But you'll see this, see my finger. Yeah, I did not sew the seam very well, and I didn't notice until I actually used the bag yesterday. So, you know, it's quick and dirty and totally imperfect. So join me in this, would you? It's going to be awesome. So if you're one of the people who commented that you too are intimidated by your serger and you don't know where to start, just seriously, make a tote bag out of an old t-shirt. There's literally nothing to lose, because honestly, like, real talk, you're not going to do anything with that old t-shirt anyway. So I'm just saying. As well, related to this is the fact that I host a community. We call it a community of creative adventurers. You'll notice that we're not saying like community of makers of amazeballs stuff that's going to blow your mind. That's because though each of us occasionally makes something amazeballs that blows other people's minds, most of our making isn't that. And our community is designed to focus on the adventure part of the trying new things, sharing what we do, teaching each other, learning from each other, and exploring our craft, no matter what that craft is, in a way that's supportive and enthusiastic and super healthy and amazing. So I invite you to join. There's a whole thread on there, a whole forum on there for sewing. I posted about this from last week, and there's a whole conversation there. And part of what is baked into our community is that some of us know stuff and some of us want to learn stuff. And actually, scratch that, reverse it. Each of us knows stuff and each of us wants to learn stuff. And in this space, we learn from each other and teach each other. And it's kind of amazing. So I do invite you to join that. You can find it at community.kimwerker.com. There's a link to it in my bio and the whole kind of spiel. So join in over there if you'd like a kind of more in-depth than Instagram allows for, like, support in doing this. And regardless, if you dive in and make something because you were like, all right, Kim said I should do it, I'm going to do it. And you're whether you're a member of the forum or not, tag it Mighty Creative. That way I'll see it. I'll be super excited and I'll share what you did, and you'll get loads of cheerleading, because we all know that that's something that really makes a difference, because we feel good when other people say to us, good effort, good job, good for you. So there's that. Back to this bag. I have a question for y'all, because I don't know what I'm doing. This is the first thing I ever serged. I looked through my handy user manual, and number one, okay, here's like the most basic of questions, which is not even a question that I wrote down, but like, this old t-shirt, is this a knit or jersey? Like, I know that it's knit. It's like t-shirt material. I understand the difference between knitting like a knit fabric and a woven fabric. And if you don't, I'm happy to elaborate on that in the comments. So just leave the question. It is not a stupid question. It's a really, really important thing to understand about your fabric. But the settings listed in the user manual are different, slightly different for knits and for jersey. And I don't know what the difference is. So if you can tell me, please do. Because what I did was I set the feed dog differential for, I think it was jersey, which seemed to be the setting that would push the fabric together more so that it wouldn't curl or bunch up. And so, but here's the thing, like if you look at my seam, I don't know if it's really apparent here if I show it, it's a little bit wobbly. Maybe you can see it better, like where I sewed really messy. Like, see how that seam, this blue seam right here, it's not taut, it's wobbly. And I think that's because my feed dog differential isn't set properly, but it was also set at the most extreme of the settings that I think it should be. Now, okay, now that I'm saying it out loud, maybe I should set it like way the other way and experiment with that. I should probably do that. But if you know what I'm talking about and you have some insight into that, I would appreciate it tremendously. Please send me a DM or comment so that other people can see it too, because oh my gosh. So for those of you new to this, the feed dogs, and this holds for a traditional sewing machine too. The feed dog is like the little gripper thing underneath where you put your fabric. It's kind of aligned underneath where the sewing needles are. And it's the thing that automatically feeds your fabric through the sewing machine. It's why if you go hands-free, your fabric still goes without you pushing it. On a serger, there are two feed dogs, and they're kind of like in parallel to each other, and they can kind of go at the same speed or they can go at a slightly different speed. And that's the differential. A differential of something, right, is the difference between two things. And you can set your serger so that like you can automatically sew ruffles, for example, by like setting your feed dog differential to push the fabric through in a way that kind of bunches it up, and then you sew ruffles into something. I mean, reading my manual, this is what I gather from it. Anyway, if you have insight into this, I would really appreciate it, because I can experiment a ton, but I'm not convinced that I will learn on my own. So thank you in advance for that. And then finally, on the topic of throwing your first few projects under the bus and having no expectations for them being great. This is like at the heart of all of the creative work that I do. And at the heart of all of that is a project called Mighty Ugly, which is about making something hideous on purpose as a creativity exercise. I wrote a book about it, came out a few years ago. It's called Make It Mighty Ugly. And first thing in January, I'm hosting like a book club, make-along, workshop-y kind of thing that'll go 4 weeks, and it'll entirely be based on the book, Make It Mighty Ugly. I'm honestly like, the book's been out for 5 years and I only thought to do this now. So we're just chalking that up to at least I eventually came around to the idea. Through like live video chats on Zoom, we'll make ugly things together. We'll show things off. We'll also have a whole private forum for all members of the workshop together to get to know each other, share progress. I will be kind of doing things that are above and beyond what's in the book. And I'd love for you to join in. So there's early bird registration is on until this Friday at midnight Eastern time. But registration will be open up until I think January 5th. The workshop starts on the 6th of January. It'll be 4 weeks. It'll be super low key, very low stress. It's not an expensive workshop. I just want people to start the year off kind of getting your creative juices flowing and seeing what you can do and make. So I'll put the link to that in my bio, but you can also find it at community.kimwerker.com. There will be like a green link at the top of the page that'll bring you right there. And I'd love for you to join us and kind of flex your muscles, getting used to making some terrible things on your way to making amazeballs things. So, okay, thanks for being here. Thank you for your advice. Thank you for your encouragement, which is why I made my first project just a couple of days after I kind of sewed on the serger for the first time. So I want to keep up this momentum. Happy holidays, everyone. No matter what you're celebrating this season, I hope it's a great one. And I'll be back after the holidays with more adventures in sewing. See you soon. Bye. It's not